the volume of recommendations that we have just tells us how much we still have left to do and how far we still have left to go to provide some semblance of equality between men and women in this country. And so the question I have is that I feel, and I was privileged enough to sit around the table as apparently one of the persons that was supposed to be responsible for change, I feel that we've always had a hostile environment or a level of indifference to all of the things that we can see on a daily, weekly basis that are unequal in our country and our society. So I would like to know what you still feel, even with the swell of support that I think we have behind us, what the obstacles still are that you can see. And I put it against the context that I was the minister that employed Judge Murphy to come and do a body of work that we both agreed at our first meeting would take a number of months. And here we are 3 years later, and I have to tell you, I absolutely know this is no reflection on Judge Murphy or her team. We still don't even have a report yet, because we have a department that is indifferent and that actually puts obstacles in women's way, which then results, as Karen has just said, in a situation where we have parental alienation, and the only people that suffer in that circumstances are the children. So what are the obstacles, and how do you feel the environment actually sits with us at the moment?
Thank you, Regina. Is that question directed specifically to Karen Kiernan or to any witness?
Well, actually, I think all of them probably would have a view, but if Karen wants to go first, and maybe the Women's Council and IREC then, if that would be okay. And short and brief, I know we could talk about it probably for hours.
Thank you. Karen Kiernan.
Thank you. I think it's very interesting to hear a former Minister for Social Protection say that the Department of Social Protection is indifferent to the needs of women. I think that's very telling, and I appreciate your candour. And I think if that is true and that it can be something that we experience, then that is a massive obstacle. I'm still processing what you said. I don't think I mentioned parental alienation, so I won't comment on that. But certainly this is linked, I suppose, to a lack of understanding of contemporary families and what it means. And the social welfare system is one in which it promulgates out-of-date forms. And, I am aware that, when you were the minister, you took steps to try and deal with the difficulties for domestic violence survivors who were trying to access social welfare payments, and all social welfare staffers was to be trained. They have not been trained, however many years later. So I don't know how we overcome that, frankly. But there is a deep-rooted ambivalence towards the needs of the vulnerable. And I think the lack of evidence and the way in which our policymakers and government can ignore evidence is one of the problems. We often see people make political decisions and not decisions based on evidence. So targeting poor children is the way in which you prevent poverty. Giving payments to people who already have enough, like electricity payments or gas payments that we're going to get. I don't need it. I'm lucky enough to earn enough. But there are children who do need it. And that is the kind of poor decision making by government that is not based on evidence.